Hello and welcome to Corner Comics, your mostly weekly comic book reading club. I'm your host Barkov, and I'm joined by my friends Manuel and Russ. How you guys doing this weekend?
Hayukin.
I am super awesome today.
Great. So we get together each week, share a few comics with each other, and then we talk about those comics and issues. This week we have 6 comics. One of them is a graphic novel that I don't think all of us got through. um, but I'll do my 2, then Emmanuel, you can do your 2, and then Russ will do your 2. My first pick of the week is the Free Comic Book Day 2018 issue of The Amazing Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. My second issue is Maxwell's Demons from Vault Comics. Emmanuel, what are you bringing?
I'm bringing Old Man Logan, Volume 2, issue number 29, 2017 version. It's by Marvel. And my second issue is Scott Pilgrim, Volume 1 of 6. That's the graphic novel. And it is the 2012 by Oni Press.
And Russ?
Okay, and I tried to make sure to pick books that you can get from home for free legally. My first issue is simply entitled Black by who knows what comic book company. But I'll get more into that once we. And I have another book from Image called Lucy Claire Redemption. I get my weekly dose of murder.
All right. If you're watching along and you're reading these comics also, you have some thoughts of your own, feel free to go ahead and shoot us a message. We might read it on air. cornercomicsofficial@gmail.com. Yeah, let's jump into it. Go ahead and transition here. So my first issue is Amazing Spider-Man. This was the Free Comic Book Day issue that they put out back in 2018. And the reason that I picked this is because Free Comic Book Day should be right around the corner, but probably won't happen this year. But also the other reason I did was because we had so many free comics that were being released by everybody. I got to thinking the Free Comic Book Day issues are kind of paltry in comparison. And I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts were in terms of Free Comic Book Day, the free comics that they release, and whether or not this particular issue does a good job of introducing Spider-Man to somebody that maybe hasn't read him before.
Okay, I'll go. This is standard Spider-Man fare, right? Peter Parker's problems, PPP. Spider-Man's jokes, playing web slinging and making criminals look stupid because of his spidery powers, but never being able to amount to anything because he's Peter Parker. This is the standard for Peter Parker, and this is what you get in this issue. I did like the art. It looked like Invincible art, possibly the same artist. So I did like that art. It is an interesting and fun romp in its own way, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't carry any weight. It's just, here's a book about Spider-Man. You know what you get, and you get that here. And then after the actual story, there's a whole bunch of setting up for, and it feels like this book is just the issue 0 set up for the actual comic. So you're getting a taste. Here's your little sniff. If you want more, come see me.
Right.
That's what this issue felt like to me. What do you think, Emmanuel?
I think it was a great callback to my childhood. Now, for a casual reader, or maybe someone that hasn't been properly introduced to comics, only the movies and the pop culture, I think it might be a good introduction. Like you said, it may be issue 0. So if the comic book day issues this as a free comic, I think this is a great introduction. You don't have too much backstory on the other characters. You know who Peter Parker is, you know who Spider-Man is, so there's no real introduction needed there. And all the other villains, they're somewhat noticeable. Now there is like a second villain, Electro's protege, or I'm not exactly sure of her backstory, but you don't need to know that in order to enjoy this book. It was action. It was Peter Parker problems, the P squared. It was all that you needed, and I think this is really good for Free Comic Book Day. It doesn't go above your expectations. It's a good introduction.
Okay.
But you don't need it in your collection. If you don't have it in your collection, you didn't.
No,
But for a giveaway to new readers or anyone else who just wants a little bit of Spider-Man, there you go.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed in the Guardians of the Galaxy story that's at the end. It's not even really a comic book. It's just like random
Yeah.
sort of text with some graphics. Like they didn't even do anything special for it.
Like any of this and want to know more, get your $5 ready for 5 different more comics.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fun little story, but I think Rush, you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of like it doesn't hold any weight. It's a nice little introduction, but you don't have to have it in your collection. That being said, if you were curious about Spider-Man and have I don't know if you're watching this and you haven't read Spider-Man, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but if you were interested, yeah, this is still free. You can pick this up on Comixology, add it to your account, and I'm sure you can find it elsewhere. So moving on, my second issue is Maxwell's Demons, and this is the story of a kid that spends a lot of time by himself, and we're not entirely sure if he is in his own imagination or if he's actually going on these adventures. I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you guys think about this issue?
Manuel, what do you think?
I thought it was dark in the best way possible. It uses. This moment, let me actually go to it so I can go over it while I'm reading it. But I think it uses that tone for a purpose. There's other comic books that I've seen that are dark, that has like this muted tone, but it doesn't serve the storyline well. This does because it's eerie. It's kind of sort of cryptic in that this kid is a genius, but yet still he creates these doors to another world. Is the world real? You don't really see a lot of outside influence. You see this kid experiencing the world, and one of the ways that a reader would know that this is genuine or real, not just in his head, is if something that you might suspect would imagine interacts with something that's external, like his father or something, but you don't really see that. You do see his father talking about his intellect, so maybe he's very smart and also very creative, so he's creating these worlds. We don't know. So there's that intrigue there, and if it is real, that opens up a whole new set of issues. Like maybe there's something right with him, something wrong with him. We don't know. But the colors kind of seem very painty. They're not typical comic book style colors, but it's still muted. Even though they're bright, they're still dark. I don't know how to describe that, but it's interesting. It definitely captivated my interest, and I enjoyed this issue.
Yeah, this did feel like something that could have been in a heavy metal magazine.
Okay.
It's got the sci-fi, it's got the deep story, the full journey that does go all the way through completion. It seemed longer than I expected most comic books to be. I don't know if that was the story or the number of pages. It reminded me, like, if you wanted to make this for television for kids, it reminded me of the animated series Mighty Max.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Mighty Max also hopped dimensions, and he also had an owl that followed him around and things like that. There were times when in this book where I was like, this is all in his head, and then no, it's not. And I went back and forth with that. And I liked that the story made me think that way. Like, well, is it this? Okay, now I think it's this. Okay, now I think it's that. And it led me, because, I like to think I'm analyzing and all of that, but it led me sort of back and forth across that line. And I don't know if I have the answer, even when it's done, if this is real or imagined. But the story was fun. The journey was great. Uh, 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 and, you know, I feel like I should have seen that ending coming. And for some reason, maybe I missed it, maybe because how the story was told. But it does seem like if this is a real intelligent kid, that these are the kind of stories he would probably make up. Like a kid who reads 5 books a week or whatever and sits there reading all this sci-fi and has no other friends and no other life. This seems very much like the world he would have created. So it makes me think that it could be unreal. I mean, it could be all in his head, but it's just real to him. Uh, but the story was so full and complete that I made me think that it was actually real, and I'm just not. And for me, the jury's still out, and the fact that the story was able to do that, and also remind me of a cartoon I used to love with Mighty Max, I found it to be a great book, a great find.
Awesome. And is he a hero or a villain? I guess huh?
He's a hero.
Are you sure about that?
Zero.
Well, he's still a kid, so kids make mistakes and don't know what the heck they're doing.
Okay.
But when you look at intent,
Yeah.
I think the intent and comes from a good place and with heart. And that part where he electronicized his teddy bear, and
Yeah.
that teddy said father, and he says no friend. Right? This is a hero.
Okay. All right.
This is also. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like that the question exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really know because the kid has such a hard home life. Is he being conditioned into more of a villain than a hero?
Interesting.
Seems like
thinking-
himself.
I'm thinking this is a genius kid that now has to stay in home due to quarantine. That's one of the reasons why in the show notes I put, I would really like to see the outside world. We're all in the vast space of his bedroom and his closet where you can go to the other worlds. But then when he goes outside of that world, he's back home, but then he goes downstairs into his house. We never see the outside world. Now, the father alludes to it when he talks about crows being outside. We know crows exist, but what's up with the outside world? Is it hit with the Rona?
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. We'll move on. Emmanuel, your first issue is Old Man Logan.
Old Man Logan.
Now, Logan.
If you're like me, you've read Old Man Logan, and then you've also read separately what is his name? The Old Man Hulk, which is actually Maestro. You have a balding Hulk. He's arguably stronger than present day or 616 Hulk, and he's a lot more experienced because this is him in the future. So the two were mutually exclusive. They had their own run. They had their own adventures separate from each other. But then some genius, and I mean this not sarcastically, some genius decided to actually combine their stories. Old Man Logan meets Old Man Hulk or Maestro, and it is beautiful. It is awesome because their age, their experience, they're the ones you know and love. They're the Wolverine you know and love, the Hulk, the Smasher that you know and love, but then years of experience, and they've been through some stuff that you and I don't know about. They've lived their lives. They've experienced all these other things separate from the stories that we've already read. So I like the interaction between the two, and honestly, the Hulk family was very disturbing. I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead and say so. Hulk in this alternate future, there's an alternate future where Bruce Banner transforms into the Hulk, and he decides he wants babies, Hulklets, if you will. And the only other female that is capable of providing him with babies is his cousin, his cousin, She-Hulk. And he repeatedly makes babies with her against her will. And I'm trying to stay away from the R word,
Hulk
but
smash.
he does that. Yeah, Hulk smashed, and it was awful. So the babies are a product of that. They've grown up, they've grown older, and they can now transform. And they have names like Billy Bob, so you can imagine their beautiful names, creative names like Billy Bob and such. But it's an interesting story. I want to save you the ending and spoiling it for you so you can go and read it yourself. But what did you guys say?
I really liked the artwork, and I couldn't remember if this was the same guy that did the War of the Realms issue, one of the War of the Realms issues that we had. Yeah, because it's got that same non-panel feel. Like he does the arbitrary boundaries for the panels, quote unquote panels, but like the full image is made up of the different panels. I thought that was really cool. I like this style. I have no experience with Old Man Logan or Maestro. I totally slept on those series, so this is all new, and it's a weird place to jump in. The Hulk babies makes more sense. I'm glad that you explained that.
Because I just thought Bruce Banner just had sex with a whole bunch of people that live in trailer parks. That was the only thing I'm like, there's no way having this kind of sex. He's not getting laid that much. But look at all these children. He hiding out in a trailer park for years, doing everyone in the neighborhood making babies.
Yeah. So I'm curious, is this in any way related to the Planet of the Hulks or whatever? Is that the same different dimension, or this is its own timeline and thing?
Yeah, it's its own. It's not World Breaker Hulk in any way.
I feel like it's Old Man Logan's Earth.
Okay. All right.
That's the Earth I know the least about because I am familiar with Maestro. But I have not been following Old Man Logan and what his future was like and where he came from. So I'm thinking if there is an Earth, it's got to be that one. And then somehow, apparently, he ends up in ours. Don't know how that happens. Maybe the Hulk hits him so hard he smacks him through dimensions. Who knows? But
Yeah. But yeah, overall, there's some great action sequences. It's interesting to see like the different permutations of Hulk. Yeah, it was a fun ride. Russ?
yeah, I'm going to agree. You said most of the same stuff that I was going to say. It is a fun ride. I don't know what all is going on. Like I said, I thought when I finished reading, I thought Bruce Banner just, like I said, just had sex with anything that moved for years to make sure that the Hulk didn't die out, or maybe the Hulk in his mind was like, have sex, have sex, have sex, do it, smash, right? And then and made him do all those things, and you get all these different Hulks, and now there's a tribe of Hulks, and there's multi-generational Hulks.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you got to have a lot of sex to have all that generation and still be in modern times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand that, but that didn't stop me from enjoying it. Always good to see a Hulk Wolverine fight. This one is done.
Yes.
Looks good, and it's always in question who's going to win a Hulk Wolverine fight for some reason. Even though the Hulk's supposed to be able to knock out Superman, somehow Wolverine's metal claws, which apparently Hulk can't break, will win out in the end or not, or keeps him in the game. But anyway, if you like Hulk versus Wolverine in any capacity, this gives you more of that in a new setting.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the book, but I feel like I need to go back now and find the graphic novel because there's still a whole lot that I don't know.
Understandable. And in all fairness, Maestro isn't the one who impregnated his cousin. that was another version of Bruce Banner, aka Hulk, that Wolverine, Old Man Logan, took care of. He offed him, he killed him, he murdered him, Russ.
But it was off screen, so it doesn't count.
Now, it was interesting how he did it. I don't want to spoil it if you do go back, but it was interesting how he took out that Hulk. And that Hulk was deplorable and despicable because, he did that to Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, his cousin, over and over and over again. So his death was it needed to happen. Yes, he deserved to die, and I hope he burns in hell.
Yeah, he does allude to it at one point in the story where he talks about how Old Man Logan does, where he's like, "I'm gonna take you out faster than I did the other Hulk or whatever." So
yeah.
All right.
And my second book would be Scott Pilgrim, Volume 1. Now, there is a movie, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and it's based off of this book, not even loosely. There's scene for scene, word for word almost. Now, it couldn't be exact because this is the comic book and that's the movie. The movie, you fill in stuff like walking from here to there and all that. So the movie has more scenes, more depictions, but this is the source material. And it is from, let me actually get the artist and writer. The artist and writer of this is Brian Lee O'Malley, and it's published by the Oni Press. I'm not familiar with the Oni Press, but I really, really like Scott Pilgrim, the character and the movie. The movie is actually one of my top 10. So it follows the story of your typical Canadian, Scott Pilgrim, and he is just he's 20, I want to say 22 or 24, in his early 20s, 23. He's 23 years old, and he has an interesting love life. He's dating a 17-year-old high school girl, and the only thing they've done is like hold hands. No, they haven't even held hands yet. They kind of like did side hug type thing. So they want to make a point of that, like it's still steeped in innocence. But in addition to that, Scott Pilgrim has a unique story in that they don't set up any kind of fighting anyway. You don't see this in issue 1, but they don't set up any kind of fighting in any way. But he then dates another woman, an actual woman now in her 20s, dumps the 17-year-old, but she has evil exes, and he has to fight all the evil exes in order to date the woman. And the fight sequences are great in this book, in this volume. You don't see any fight sequences in volume 1 or issue 1, but later on down the line, they do pay off, and they are top tier. They don't have any kind of backstory as to why they can fight so well, but it's good. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, you only got to read to page 43, and there are no page numbers.
There is down there's page numbers
at a panel, and I'm saying, okay, where's the page? Okay, it wasn't.
You see 44.
Yeah, it's like they don't always okay, it goes from 74 to 78, and I'm like,
you've gone too far.
Yeah.
So of course, curse you for putting anything that looks like a graphic novel as if I have time. There will be ramifications for this this act. So if I only go as far as 40 something, it pretty much follows the movie. So I was always aware of Scott Pilgrim before the movie, but I never read it. But I did watch the movie, and it is one of my favorite movies. That being said, this is, I want to say, all of this takes place in the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, at least up to page 40 something, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems to me this is a whole bunch of 20 somethings that are either not doing anything with their life or basic stoners, and the conversation balloons did seem authentic to that type of group, so that part seemed real and organic, but if that doesn't float your boat, if you don't care about people in that situation, because you're talking, the fights are what, page 127? Got that kind of time, man. Like it might be worth it in the payoff, but for the 40 something pages, it was interesting. But if it didn't have hype behind it
Hmm.
and the movie, I don't know if I would have continued. That being said, it did have the, I can't unsee that. It did have hype. I didn't know about it. So I did have some interest to see how things were translated from the comic to the movie. And it explained more why how these things showed up in the movie that were weird because of how the comic was written and displayed things. So that was interesting also. So it's okay.
Yeah, I've only seen bits and pieces of the movie, and I've never read the comic before, so this is my sort of first time. Um, I just kept reading, and then I got to, I think, the concert sequence. And I'm like, how long is this? Like, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, you went too far.
I was like, no, I will not be a slave to the graphic novel length of this story.
Yeah, and I just kept going. And I was like, wow, how long is this? um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the artwork, and some of the dialogue is sort of off kilter. It doesn't seem like that's the way people would talk. Um, and I could not unhear Michael Cera's voice, and so that just like kept popping up as I was reading. I was like, damn it, why did they have to make this a movie? Because I feel like I could have gotten more into it having not seen any of the movie. Um, that being said, like I am kind of interested in the subspace highways and the fighting and those characters and things. So I think I'll probably go back and finish this. I don't know if I'll get through all 6 volumes if each volume is this long though.
You know what? I would suggest you watch the movie rather than read the book. Now, I'm all for reading the book. If you want to do both, amazing, excellent. But if you really want to get your just desserts, watch the movie. It's very video game style, so
Okay.
I think you'd enjoy it. This right here was just world building. But if you want to go into it in full throttle and just see all the character arcs that really matter, the movie's where you should be.
Um, so what? How long is the movie then? Is the movie just this first volume, or is the movie all 6 volumes?
Um, you know that I'm not sure. I think it's just the first. No, it's the whole character arc of him battling all the X's. So
Okay.
it's the abridged version of every character, every X.
Okay. And that takes place over a couple of volumes.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many volumes are. 6. There's 6 to this. So and there's seven evil X's. So if I'm not mistaken, you get 2 bangs for your buck for one of the comics, but or
Okay.
one of the volumes. But for the most part, you'll get it all in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was kind of fun. Yeah, just it was hard for me to follow the dialogue. I guess um, I don't know. If I had read this in my 20s or late teens, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Hmm.
Um,
You also get um, the Human Torch, the first version, and Captain America, i.e., Chris Evans, and you get Brendan Routh's Superman. Both of those actors are in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Interesting.
So there you go.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's worth a watch. I'd actually recommend it. I think you just sit and watch it and let it flow over you. And
Okay.
when the fights start happening, and if you liked them in the comic, when the fights start happening, it's sort of a worthy homage, I think.
All right. Cool. All right, Russ, your first issue.
My first issue is simply entitled Black. This is a world where the only people that have superpowers are Black. Not all Black people, not most Black people, but if you want superpowers, got to be Black. And it doesn't matter if you're dark skinned or if you're albino or whatever. It's possible you could have powers, but only black people get them, right? So in a world like that, where kids are, showing up having powers, and you're already scared of a black man following you, a black child following you home. What happens when there's a possibility of them having powers? And what does it mean to be a young black man who finds that he has powers in a world like the world we live in? The entire issue is in black and white. Uh, I follow this because I follow Jamal Ingle, who I'm a fan of. He has done art on Penultimate. Remember we did that?
Yeah.
Uh, and also on Excellence, which we did some time before. So I follow him into the things that he does. There have been other series. This I think is a mini series, but there's another series I think is called Black AF.
Okay.
What AF stands for, that I believe takes place after this, and maybe another series after that as well, like Black AF and some other words. Uh, but it's an interesting premise, uh, and I and it's black and white, and we haven't reviewed black and white stuff here. I think one other time, and you can get it for free this first issue. Uh, so I thought everyone can read it, and we can talk about it. So tell me what you thought.
I really liked it. The artwork, it's I think it's difficult to do black and white well, and this pulled it off nicely. When it works, you almost forget that it's in black and white, and you can see the colors in your mind. And this did a wonderful job at that. I was thinking Matrix at first. It has a Matrixy vibe to it, and at the same time, it's secret base superhero, like the facility that he goes to towards the end, when it's revealed to him that he does have powers, almost felt like a Men in Black type situation. So I liked those elements, and I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, because you've got these ninjas and all this other stuff happening, and like it does a really good job of just sort of dropping in all of the elements that you need to carry you through. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting premise too, and very unapologetic about that. It starts off a little rough though. I was like, oh man, I don't want to read a comic book like this. And then he wakes up in the ambulance. I'm like, oh, okay, I can follow this again. I don't have to be sad that he got shot in the street,
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was really good. Artwork, dialogue, story, everything matched up well.
I liked it. It reminds me of everything I love about X-Men.
Man, what are you talking about?
So, in the political aspect of things, where, as you mentioned, the fear of Black people, and now what would happen in a world where only this people group, these race of people, the Black people, actually can have powers, and what does that look like in this society? What does that look like in this world? And apparently, powers aren't super well known, because the kid woke up not knowing what was going on. The people that had powers at all, like that's the thing. So this is really, really interesting, and it kind of reminds me of Quinn Credible a bit. And I could see elements of Static Shock, not just because he's a young Black male that has powers, but yeah, like visually, and it just kind of has that same tone, which is good, which is great. I like both of those series. So this is really, really good. I kind of like Matt, get into it thinking, oh, black and white, is this going to work? But it works perfectly. It works really well. And that afterwards, I forgot it was black and white at all. That wasn't even a factor. As a matter of fact, I think if it were color, it might take away a bit from the artistry and the artistic flow of what they're going with here. A lot of times you can say something without words. And this is an element in and of itself, a character in and of itself, the art. So I like this. I really, really like this. I'm excited to see where it goes from now. I will read subsequent issues. Good pick.
Yeah, and also because I follow Jamal Ingo and recommend you do the same. He's also, remember we did an issue called Other Earth where there was like a dragonfly and a dragonfly man.
Yeah.
He did he's done a lot of Marvel and DC, and he did Excellence, which I think had great art. There's a lot of things he's part of and connected to that. And by the way, what was that one we watched? Was it 7 Days? That one
Mm.
watched like that show. There's one of the characters on there is Noble, and he has his own book. And
Oh yeah.
Jamal did the art on that. Well,
Okay.
Nice.
so there's more to see from him if you. And I'm thinking when you look at what he can do here in black and white, you know that definitely underlying talent just all around anything he does. So there you go.
Yeah.
And
One
a little bit of murder in the beginning. So
the one last thing that I'll mention too. I like the setup for the powers and the fact that it takes place on the quantum level. I thought that was a unique and interesting take on it. Because it's not just, oh, they. I mean, it would be easy to copy the mutant gene or do something similar to that in this type of world, but to have it be the quarks that make up the quarks, and yeah, I thought it was interesting.
and to go deeper down that rabbit hole, that also would mean that being black is down into the corpse, right?
Yeah,
Because only black people activate this way, right?
yeah,
So that theory, I said that was a bold thing to say that being black is so much of your essence that it is in the corpse. It is not, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
That it is irrefutable and you can never remove yourself from it. It is in there. It's part of you down to your what, DNA, below your DNA level.
Subatomic, yeah.
Right. So I thought like, well, you can't, can you really say that? Can you being black is not just, so I thought it was bold. And I like the boldness. I like that this is a full story, well thought out universe um, that you can follow and get to the bottom of. And why couldn't it be a movie? Right? What's in there that can't be in a movie?
Yeah.
Right? Even, or dare I say, more likely to watch it, a Netflix series.
If it were directed by Robert Rodriguez, I would be all on
Oh,
that.
there you go. Okay. I like it. Okay, so moving on to my next pick. This is an image book. It's called Lucy Claire Redemption. Think of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but instead she's black and she's a werewolf slayer. And she, doesn't have any other real life outside of that. She's pretty much a waste of space. Uh, Before I get into what moves me into it, tell me about what you think.
I really liked the art and the fact that I I may be alone on the island with this statement, but I kind of sympathize with the wolves. Um,
They're
they,
murdering and eating people, man. How you gonna sympathize
yeah,
with that?
they get hungry. I mean, come on. But I want to know their backstory and their history and why it is they do the things that they do. Is this an outlier? Is it just a group of estranged wolves that go around eating people, or is it all wolves? Hashtag not all wolves. Um, I was thinking, I was thinking about that not dichotomy, but the relationship between the wolves and the humans and how they've just been demonized. And this is taken from the human's perspective. So maybe there's another story to tell there. If not, if I'm just completely on some other thing, the story itself is good. It is a nice, well written story. And in the beginning, you find out that the wolves can take human form, which is interesting. So they can live amongst humans and be peaceful. Who's to say that isn't happening more often? I don't know,
I
but
don't think they can be peaceful. I think human. Put it
I don't
back.
know.
Gotta eat.
I don't know. But it's really well written and the art is good. I liked the murder the action sequences and how they do the how there's a scene where they're all in the woods and one of the hunters gets taken, and it's just swift and so efficient, so clean. I like it.
Yeah, the artwork blew me away. I was really impressed at like how polished this is, and it makes me feel like I did when Image first came out. Because Image books, when they first came out, you know, it was an offshoot of like the best Marvel artists, and that was the highlight. That was the reason that you picked up an Image book. It wasn't, um, you know, it couldn't be matched in terms of like how well it looked. And so I feel like this carries that sort of Image tradition, if you will. The fact that it's werewolves, thank God. I'm so freaking tired of zombies and vampires. Let's stop this. Let's do the werewolf thing for a while because we need something different. And I like that there's a little bit different take on it. Like it's not that they transform in the moonlight. It's I guess more mystical than that. It seems like they can. It's more like the Japanese take on shape-shifting animals. I'm trying to think if it's is it Shinto is the religion where they, yeah. But yeah, they set up really nice. I thought it was funny that the group of kids, I guess they're becoming werewolf hunters, or they want to be werewolf hunters. The children in the beginning, but they hire that one guy and he's taken out in like 2 panels, which was kind of funny. And yeah, Lucy is an interesting character. Your typical, I guess, anti-hero. She's a alcoholic, sort of washed up, doesn't know what she's doing with her life, and will this be her redemption? And it seems like it will be. Yeah, overall, I thought this was a really great pick, and I had a lot of fun reading it.
All right.
All right. Any final thoughts on the books?
No, it's harder and harder to find books that everyone can get.
Yeah.
Because I still have books I want to share, but everyone can't get them. I don't know if you left the link, but there's a link. The name of the company that does the comic Black is called Black Mask, and you can get all their #1s for free at blackmaskstore.com, including the book we talked about, Black, and many other #1s that might be worth your time. So I'm going to make sure everyone has access to that.
Yeah, I'll post those links in the show notes. I think both of my picks you can pick up for free. Maxwell's Demons, that issue 1, and I think all of Vault's issue 1s are available. So every one of those you can get on Comixology for sure. I don't know if they have a link on their main website to get those issue #1s. I'm also not sure if it's just a time thing, if they're going along with everybody else, and because of the whole quarantine thing, if they've just released these for free for people to check out and enjoy right now, or if it's just it's going to be an ongoing thing. So something to watch
They are
out for.
#1s. So I figure there's no worry if you just let out #1s digitally, because the whole idea is to get you interested to get #2, 3, and 4, right?
Right.
Yeah, or buy the graphic novel. If you read the first issue, then go pick up the graphic novel. Yeah.
And most of these graphic novels are available on Amazon and everywhere else, if you want the physical.
True. Yeah.
Everywhere else comic books are sold.
Did you guys check out the Mighty Max trailers? Do you remember Mighty Max?
I do. Yeah.
I really liked that show. Right? He didn't really have any actual powers, right? He just had a magic hat, basically, and was quick-witted and quick thinking, and he sounded like an adult. He didn't really sound like a kid.
Yeah.
Right? But somehow he always saved the day. It was like before there was Ben 10. You know what I mean? Ben 10 needed all these watches and stuff, and this guy just, I just need a hat. That's all. I got this. And I really like that show. I like the art of that show and everything. And I was glad that you picked a book that made me feel that again. Because a lot of episodes are online.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome. All right. And on that note, gentlemen, I think we're going to head out for the week. Until next week.
Read more comics.
Still not an X-Men fan.
I'm going to find an X-Men book for you, dude. Eventually.
He's already said no. There's no need. Why don't you show me an X-Men book that you actually like?
Yeah. All right. We're putting it on you. You got to pick an X-Men book now.
Not a parallel.
So it has to be updated.
Actually,
someone because I've shown one.
I just show me an X-Men book that you said gives you the essence of what you like about the X-Men.
I
did. Remember?
Yeah, it was Ultimate X-Men, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's Ultimate. That's not. Yeah, that's canon X-Men, right?
They're canonized.
Yeah,
their universe exists within canon. It's destroyed now, but
so in other words, you don't like no X-Men before this. You don't like any of the other.
No, before there was before Ultimate X-Men. I liked the mainstream. I don't know why or when it got.
So share a mainstream that gives you the essence of why you like them today, but feel free to put it for a future show.
That has been my challenge, but I'll continue to try.
We'll see. Like them, and then I need some evidence, man. I'm not sure you ever did. I think you.
That's okay. I'm okay with you not being sure.
I might have to find a DC book that I really like.
Yes.
Yeah, because Matt hates on DC pretty regular.
Yeah, this is true.
So if I could find a DC book that even, he could begrudgingly like, this wasn't bad. That's a triumph for me.
All right. And on that note, we're out.